Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. It did get fully announced yesterday night that the UK is in complete lockdown for at least 3 weeks due to the coronavirus. Now, Boris Johnson has confirmed that everybody must stay at home, and obviously, if no one goes by these rules, then the police will be enforced. Now, he has confirmed, as Boris Johnson, you are allowed one form of exercise a day, which means either, running or cycling or something like that. Also has confirmed you can buy essentials from the shop. So this is what's been confirmed. I think also two funerals will remain open, but non-essential shops are all closed. Non-essential shops are all closed. Also, two outdoor gyms are closed. And also two weddings are closed and that. So yeah, we are in lockdown for at least 3 weeks. And then after 3 weeks, he is going to fully assess it, is Boris Johnson and that. So this is day one now of us being in lockdown. So that has been confirmed. Also, two key workers are obviously still allowed to go to work and that. So yeah, so this has been fully announced. Obviously, this the coronavirus, has killed the hell of a lot of people. Obviously, a lot of countries now are obviously, in lockdown with it. And it's a really, really serious disease. It is a really, really serious disease, is this coronavirus. Obviously, football and a lot of other sporting events have been cancelled due to the virus. Obviously, a lot of football players have been tested positive for it recently. Don't forget Fellaini got tested positive for it, who was a former Manchester United player. Obviously, Cal Hudson-Odoi got tested for it a couple of weeks ago. Obviously, Paul Dybala's recently had the virus. Obviously, Mikel Arteta had it, and he was the part of the football and that getting postponed, because he got tested positive for it a couple of weeks ago and that. So yeah, this virus is spreading like mad. Like I mentioned to you the other day, the Premier League are scheduling a plan to resume games from the 1st of June. And obviously, then for it to be completed within 6 weeks. So next season can start on time, which I think is on the 8th of August. And obviously, they're going to do this as well to avoid financial disaster to clubs, because quite a lot of clubs across the world are under financial pressure, due to this coronavirus. Obviously, the Premier League and all English football is suspended until April the 30th. Prior to the meeting the other week, it was suspended until April the 3rd, but now the suspension has been extended. So I do believe that, there'll be another emergency meeting to establish plans for the remainder of the season. Now, from a Liverpool perspective, they'll be delighted that the season's going to resume. Even if it wasn't to resume on the 1st of June, either way, it's going to resume because it's been extended indefinitely. Yeah, so it's going to be complete within 6 weeks. So that means it'll be like 2 or 3 games a week. So Liverpool are going to win their first ever Premier League title. As it stands at the moment, Liverpool only need 2 wins, to clinch their first ever Premier League title and to end their 30-year drought. So yeah, obviously there was reports saying if the season wasn't going to resume, that there was going to be 22 teams in the Premier League next season. There was going to be 5 teams relegated. And there was also, it said also the FL Cup games, all the FA Cup games could have been scrapped to increase Premier League fixtures. So if it hadn't resumed, probably, it would have changed a lot of context to the leagues. But obviously we do know now the season is going to resume. Like UEFA said, they said the other week that they actually, wanted all Premier League fixtures and domestic club competitions to be completed by the 30th of June, because they want the season to be completed, and this is the main explanation why UEFA had suspended Euro 2020 until the summer of 2021 now. So yeah, so I just wanted to confirm that, the UK is now in complete lockdown. So I think a lot of other people as well, would have updated you on that. Probably, could be more than 3 weeks, to be quite honest with you. It depends, on if it gets worse or if it calms down. I probably presume, it will get worse than that. So this is what's been confirmed. Obviously, the other week, was it? Obviously, before we all went in lockdown, it had been confirmed anywhere that pubs had been closed, clubs, restaurants, restaurants, bars and everything else, have all been shut now. All social events are basically, shut to stop the virus spreading. But the only way for it to stop spreading is being in lockdown and that. But a lot of people will be very, very infuriated about this. So that's the latest news on that anyway. I just wanted to update you on. So now I'm going to delve into some of the football news. Now, I was reading recent reports yesterday, and it does actually say that Manchester United are set to sign Odion Ighalo on a permanent basis, and it will cost us around £15 million. And obviously we've got Odion Ighalo on loan at the moment, and his loan is set to end. His loan spell comes to an end at the end of May. I think it's on the 31st of May. His loan spell expires. But, Solskjaer did make an admission the other week saying, it's likely we'll, make Odion Ighalo's transfer permanent, because Odion Ighalo's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's got, 4 goals in 3 starts for the football club. And he's done really, really well. And I've got to say, Odion Ighalo has confounded his critics wrong, because a lot of people were saying, he was a panic buy by Manchester United. But, very, very good player. Like I mentioned, he's totally comparison to our other attacking players. And he's an option of a different type of centre-forward. And, he's been a Manchester United fan since he was a boy. Obviously, I think he's still got 2 years remaining, has he? 1 year remaining, I think, on his contract with Shanghai Shenhua. But he's played in the Premier League before as, Odion Ighalo. Because obviously before he was at Man United, he obviously, he played for Watford. He enjoyed 3 good years with Watford, did Odion Ighalo. But I do think he's a very, very good player. And from my own perception, I think he's a very, very good cover-up to Marcus Rashford. Obviously, Marcus Rashford is still out with a back injury. He's been out for quite a while now. I think it did say he's expected back in the next couple of weeks, is Marcus Rashford. But yeah, revert back to what I said. Man United are going to get him on a permanent basis. And, it's going to cost us around £15 million to get Odion Ighalo in on a permanent basis. Maybe we'll try and finalise a deal for him now, because maybe we won't be able to get him on a permanent basis in the summer due to the coronavirus. Because that's another thing as well, like I mentioned. It could affect quite a few teams' transfer business, could this coronavirus. Probably a lot of people are going to lose money. Workplaces are obviously, going to become redundant, like I mentioned. Also, like I said, probably clubs will lose money, businessmen will lose money. So this is very, very bad news. But either way, we are going to get Odion Ighalo on a permanent basis. So I am very, very delighted about that. Man United at the moment, I think, are paying like a third of his wages. And we paid like £3 or £4 million, didn't we, to get him on loan. But I think Shanghai Shenhua would be more than happy to let him go. But, even us getting Odion Ighalo in on a permanent basis, I still believe Manchester United need at least another centre-forward in there. We do need another centre-forward because we need an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. And obviously, Manchester United let Lukaku go last summer to Inter Milan. We let him go to Inter Milan. Looking at it from a financial point of view, we would have been very, very happy because we got £70-odd million for Lukaku's departure. We basically recruit what we paid for him from Everton a couple of years ago. We paid around £75 million for him from Everton, Romelu Lukaku. And Lukaku enjoyed 2 years at Man United. 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. Had an exceptional first season, but didn't really replicate that in his second season. Lukaku had to go in the end because he lost his place in the team. And I think now he's firing in all cylinders at Inter Milan. But don't forget, last week he was talking a lot about Solskjaer. And he was backing Solskjaer. And he believes that the club are going in the right direction under him. And he believes we're making the right decisions and we are recruiting the right players in. So we'll probably regret the decision now, letting Lukaku go. But that's who we need. We need an adequate replacement for him. But like I mentioned, there has been quite a few strikers on Manchester United's agenda, like I have been updating you on. Obviously, the news regarding Timo Werner. I actually, updated you about Timo Werner yesterday night. The RP Lesbig sporting director has come out and said, Timo Werner's future is uncertain. Due to the coronavirus, he could be denied a move to the Premier League, so that means a big blow for Liverpool, because Liverpool have been relentlessly linked with Timo Werner. Timo Werner, by the way, has a release clause of around £50 million that is due to expire at the end of April. But obviously, don't forget, Timo Werner, I think was it last month, he was talking a lot about Liverpool, or was it earlier on this month? This is what he told Sky in Germany, Timo Werner. He was attracted to a move to Anfield last month, and he also said Jurgen Klopp is one of the best managers in the world. So he basically said he was excited about, the prospect of, playing at Liverpool if he did have the opportunity in that. But I still believe his preference is a move to Liverpool. But Manchester United have also expressed their interest in Timo Werner. But, I think for Timo Werner, to go to Liverpool, Liverpool would have to sell one of their attacking trio in Salah, Firmino or Mane for him, to get in the team week in, week out. For him to get in the team week in, week out and that. But there's been a few clubs that have been in for him, and Chelsea and Barcelona also expressed their interest in Timo Werner. Now, like I said, I think he's in his fourth season now with RP Leipzig. I think this season he has like 28, 29 goals in 36 games. And he's a prolific goal scorer. And I think he's got over 70 goals, in the Bundesliga as Timo Werner. Obviously, before he was at RP Leipzig, he was at Stuttgart, and I think he became the youngest ever player to represent Stuttgart. He is only the age of, 23, or is he 24 years of age, so he's still very, very young. But I think, he would be Premier League standard, and I think he would succeed in the Premier League. I really, really do. Like I said, he's going to cost at least £50 million, but, he may not leave RP Leipzig this summer due to the coronavirus and that. But Liverpool, it's one of their main priority targets. So, yeah, so that's the latest news on Timo Werner, like I updated you yesterday. Obviously, I also want to give you some news, by the way, on Dean Henderson and that. I think Dean Henderson deserves first team chances at Manchester United, because I do believe that Dean Henderson is coming back to Manchester United after his loan spell with Sheffield United. And I've got to say, I think Dean Henderson has done really, really well on his loan spell with Sheffield United. He has done really, really well. And, the club did make the right decision by putting Dean Henderson out on loan, because it's gained him more experience. And as it stands at the moment, at this present time, his stats are better than David De Gea's and that. So, if Dean Henderson comes back, that means David De Gea could lose his place in the team, because I think Dean Henderson will become our number one goalkeeper and that. Obviously, he is out on loan at the moment. Now, obviously, David De Gea, right, obviously overall, he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He is one of the best goalkeepers in the world still. But he has received a lot of criticism, reflects on the calamitous mistakes he's made. His distribution hasn't been too good. And I've got to say, David De Gea has been a liability, at least in the last year and a half or so. David De Gea now is into his 9th season at Manchester United, and he has endured 8 years here. I've still got to analyse it and say David De Gea's had a good 6.5 years out of the 8 years he's been here. De Gea's won everything here domestically. He's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the past 6 seasons or something like that, reflecting on his good run of performances. And he's made nearly 400 appearances in all competitions, and I think he's kept over 100 clean sheets. But he is a liability now, is David De Gea. Of course, reports came out the other week saying that Real Madrid were planning to put around the £70 million bidding for him. I think if De Gea was to leave Manchester United, he would make a return back to Spain, because he began his career in Spain, his relatives are in Spain, his girlfriend's in Spain, so I think he'd go back to Spain, would David De Gea. Don't forget, we got him under the Alex Ferguson era for around £17 million, but we'll generate a lot more than £17 million for his departure. And that. So yeah, and don't forget, revert back 5 years ago, Real Madrid were very, very close to getting him. But due to a fax machine on deadline day, the deal didn't materialise. Obviously, PSG and Juventus have also been in for David De Gea. Don't forget, last September, De Gea committed his future with the club by signing a new long-term contract worth £375,000 a week. So, De Gea is the highest paid at the club and he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. Obviously, so he could possibly go, could De Gea. I'd probably put Dean Henderson as our number one goalkeeper, to be quite honest with you. If you'd have asked me a year ago, I wouldn't have done, because I think he was still inexperienced in that. But now I would definitely put him as our number one goalkeeper. So definitely does deserve a chance. Obviously, we've got Sergio Romero. He's our second choice keeper, is Romero, and Romero tends to play in the cup games, doesn't he? Still don't think he's reliable enough to become our number one as yet. We've obviously got Lee Grant. He's a waste of time. He's obviously out with injuries, a long-term absentee. Lee Grant seldom played since he's come in. I think he's played once or twice, hasn't he? We got him from Stoke in the summer of 2018 and that. So Man United have got quite a few goalkeepers. So that's the latest news on that. Just wanted to confirm, by the way, like you updated you yesterday, obviously our players were training in self-isolation, obviously. So obviously now our Carrington training complex is closed, and I think it did say it will be back open, I think, on April the 10th or something like that. So yeah, training grounds have also, of course, closed. Obviously, I was talking a lot with you guys, wasn't I, about, Koulibaly yesterday. I gave you the news on him. Reports were saying, that Koulibaly had told the Napoli president that he does want to leave Napoli this summer. Now, of course, Manchester United are in search for a centre-back. We have got a lot of centre-backs in the team, and obviously, Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are doing very, very well at the back for us. Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are our first-choice centre-halves. Now, obviously, Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world, because Man United paid 80 million for him, and he's the second most expensive signing at the football club behind Paul Pogba, because we paid £89 million for Paul Pogba. And obviously, Harry Maguire, we give him the captaincy on a permanent basis. Obviously, reflect on Ashley Young's departure, and I think we made the right decision by giving him the captaincy on a permanent basis. But I think Maguire's done really, really well. We've got backup centre-halves as well, in Bailly and Tuan Zebe. They've just recently come back from injury. To be quite honest with you, actually, I think Bailly could end up overtaking Victor Lindelof, because he's done really, really well since he's come back. But my only element of concern about Bailly is that, he's very injury prone. But Lindelof's still done well. Lindelof struggled in his first season for consistency, but this season, has really, really stepped up to the plate. So give him a lot of credit. Shaw, he's predominantly a left back, but he's played as a centre half a few times this season. Obviously, when we've gone with three at the back. So, yeah. So, I still think, Man United are in search for a centre half. Now, Koulibaly, would cost a substantial amount if Napoli were willing to sell him in the summer. He'd probably cost in the 70 odd or 80 odd million pound range to convince Napoli to offload him. Now that figure is totally comparison to last summer, because don't forget, last summer Manchester United were relentlessly linked with Koulibaly, and don't forget, or was it the summer prior to the last summer? I can't remember, but Man United were in for him, and Napoli quoted out that they wanted around £150 million for him. Now that's £75 million more than what Liverpool paid for Virgil van Dijk. Now, of course, Koulibaly is now into his sixth season with Napoli. Don't get me wrong, he's done really, really well in Italy. Obviously, before he was at Napoli, he was at Genk. And Napoli, would they'd get a huge profit on the player, generate a huge profit, because they only paid around £6 or £7 million for him from Genk, and I think he's got a contract with Napoli until 2023. But I think quite a few clubs have expressed their interest in Koulibaly in that. And if Koulibaly was to come in, then we'd probably make either Lindelof or Bailly, as our backups, or both of them as our backups. But there again, you can probably say Bailly and Lindelof are probably too good to be backup centre halves. So, do Manchester United really need the centre half? Really, But yeah, so that was the reports that was coming out regarding Koulibaly. But Solskjaer has identified the three areas, where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. We definitely need another centre forward. I think we also need a right winger, and we also need a central midfielder. But Solskjaer confirmed that, he thinks Manchester United need around 3 signings, at least in the summer, to become title contenders. This is what he basically said. And, obviously, Ed Woodward's been talking a lot, especially this season, saying he's going to lay the foundations for long-term success with Solskjaer, and he's determined to back Solskjaer. Obviously, the Glazers have got the same perception, because, they've been talking recently, they're saying they're also determined to back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now, obviously, it does remain unknown whether Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager, next season. It does remain unknown. From my own perception, I think he'll be still Manchester United manager next season. Obviously, there has been reports saying if we, fail to get Champions League qualification, then, he won't be Manchester United manager next season. But I'm very, very convinced that Manchester United will get Champions League qualification. We are sitting fifth in the Premier League at the moment, and we are only 3 points behind Chelsea. As it stands at the moment anyway, fifth place is a Champions League spot, reflecting on Manchester City's ban from the Champions League for the next 2 seasons. And obviously, you can credit Solskjaer because he's progressed us to the last 8 of the Europa League. The Europa League is a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. Plus, it's another route to Champions League qualification. And plus, the FA Cup is a chance for us getting some silverware on the board. So, yeah, Manchester United have got quite a few priorities. But I honestly do believe, from my own perception, Solskjaer does deserve more time at Manchester United. He has been here now for, 15 months, so he has been at the football club over the year. Solskjaer, of course, has been permanent Manchester United manager now for officially a year and that. A lot of people say we made a mistake giving him the job permanently. But obviously, the main explanation why we're giving the job permanently is reflecting on what he did when he was the interim manager, because don't forget Solskjaer did really, really well in that 3-month period. And obviously, we've been in a really, really good vein of form. So this is another thing why I've got to credit Solskjaer, because we are unbeaten in our last 11 games in all competitions. This is our best vein of form since Solskjaer was the interim manager. And in this 11-game unbeaten run, like I mentioned, we have won 8, drawn 3. We've scored like 29 goals, kept 9 clean sheets and only conceded 2. So Man United have been in a really, really good vein of form. And like I mentioned, our record against elite opposition this season has been very, very good. So we've done well against the big 6 sides. We haven't really replicated that against lower opposition, so you can say that's an element of concern. But, a lot of aspects of our game have really, really improved. Our football looks more expansive, we're creating more chances, we're scoring more goals. Solskjaer's been making the right decisions. And he showed a lot of tactical flexibility. And like I mentioned on my other videos, I think Manchester United look much better with the 3-5-2 formation. We look more expansive with the 3-5-2 formation. We seldom go with 3 at the back. We seem to go with it against the big 6 sides. But on a regular basis this season, Solskjaer's been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. But from my own perception, that doesn't really seem to suit our standards, does the 4-2-3-1 formation. Occasionally we've gone with the 4-3-3. Solskjaer, I think, as far as I know, did go with the 4-3-3 a lot when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period and that. But Solskjaer's still got 2 years remaining on his contract at Man United. I'm still sceptical that he is the long-term solution for the club, but he does deserve another season, does Solskjaer. He does deserve another season, because take into account, Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. There's only 5 players out of Solskjaer so far who he's recommended in, and he has spent around £220 million at the club, and Solskjaer has enjoyed 3 transfer windows. But, taking into account Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of Jose Mourinho's players. Because don't forget, Mourinho spent a substantial amount at the club. Didn't he spend around £400 million? And Mourinho recommended 11 players in to Manchester United. There's still 9 of those players here now. And, Solskjaer, don't forget, was talking the other week, about how he had to overhaul Manchester United when Mourinho got sacked in December 2018. And, Solskjaer, said there was a lot of changes that were needed, including personnel, tactics, players and everything else. This is what Solskjaer was saying. And obviously, Mourinho enjoyed 2.5 years at Manchester United. But I give you the main explanations why it didn't work out is because Mourinho had bad disputes with the board. bad disputes with the top players. And I think the likes of Shaw, Pogba and Martial probably would have been gone now if Mourinho would have still been here. Mourinho did win 2 trophies in his first season at the football club. So, yeah, there's still players here from the Van Gaal era, put that into the equation. Van Gaal recruited a lot of players in, also let a lot of players go. We did win the FA Cup in the Van Gaal era. And obviously, Moyes only recruited 2 players in, did David Moyes. He brought Juan Mata and Fellaini in. And, there's still a couple of players here from the Ferguson era. Ferguson, by the way, did develop a lot of young players. So we've spent a hell of a lot of money on recruiting players in the last 6 or 7 years in the managerial eras. But I've got to say, the best player we have recruited in since the Ferguson era is Bruno Fernandes, because, like I mentioned, Bruno Fernandes is making the difference in the team. He's making a difference in the team. He's a player that can score goals, he can create chances. And, he won the Premier League Player of the Month for February, did Bruno Fernandes. And I think Solskjaer has revealed he's excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba playing as a midfield partnership. They do have similarities in styles, but I think, they would complement each other fantastically well. So they are going to play together as a partnership, are Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba and that. So, yeah, and also, a lot of players have improved under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance, which is, very, very good to see. Obviously, when Solskjaer first came in, he did say everyone would get their chances to express themselves. And he said at the start of this season that the young players would get given their opportunities and that. I think we've had the youngest squad in the Premier League this season. There's a lot of good young players. We've got Greenwood. He's enjoyed a really, really good season. Williams, he's also very, very good. I think Luke Shaw's still preferred choice though because he's more experienced, because Luke Shaw's done really, really well since he's come back. Tuanzebe did well early on this season. Diego Dalot, he sustained a few injuries this season. He's a backup to Wan-Bissaka, he's Diego Dalot. Garner's only played a couple of times this season. Chong, don't forget he committed his long-term future with the club, did Chong. He signed a new contract the other week, a 2-year deal with an option of a further year. He seldom played as Chong. Angel Gomez, I don't think his future's yet been resolved. He's seldom played, and that's the reason why he's seldom played, because there's uncertainty over his future. Angel Gomez, up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. He's been a United player since the age of 8. So there's a lot of young players in the squad, and Solskjaer's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. So I've also got to give Solskjaer a lot of credit for that, definitely. And also, Solskjaer's got a lot of things to do at the club, because I said, we need to see a variety of changes at the club. And, don't forget, there hasn't only been problems with the management this season. A lot of United fans have been criticising Ed Woodward. We've also had doubts about the club's ownership. And, Solskjaer, of course, is planning to get rid of players in the summer transfer window. I think he's planning to get rid of around 5 players in the summer, is Solskjaer. I think Man United are probably going to get rid of Phil Jones in the summer, because obviously Phil Jones can't even get in the team, and he's been a long-serving player at Man United. I think we're definitely going to get rid of Jesse Lingard and Andres Pereira. Like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, said he'd snub them 2 players and were even left out of the team selection before the coronavirus outbreak. Lingard's found game time very difficult because he's been so inconsistent when he did play before. And obviously, since the arrival of Bruno Fernandes, he's found game time very difficult. And with Pereira, he's found game time difficult since McTominay come back and that. So their appearances are now limited. Lee Grant probably, needs to be moved on. He's another player that needs to go in the summer. We'll negotiate on getting rid of Sanchez on a permanent transfer because he's on loan at Inter Milan at the moment. And I do believe we'll get rid of Rojo on a permanent transfer because obviously, Rojo at the moment is on loan at Estudiantes. But yeah, so we'll definitely get rid of more players in the summer. Like I updated you yesterday, it revealed what Solskjaer did. It revealed what Solskjaer did in his recruitment presentation with Ed Woodward. He basically ticked all the players that he wanted to leave, and this was before he got the job permanently in that. But yeah, a lot of players have left since his arrival, definitely. A lot of players have left. Obviously, I've been giving you the news, haven't I, on Paul Pogba. Obviously, I don't know if Paul Pogba's staying or he's going to be going in the summer. I'm not too sure. But he will play for Manchester United again, I can assure that, because Paul Pogba has been stepping up his fitness regime. Pogba's only played 8 times this season for the football club due to his injuries. Now, obviously, Paul Pogba's agent Mini Raiola has been talking a lot this year Obviously, over the course of the weekend, Ed Woodward was in negotiations with Mini Raiola to resolve Paul Pogba's future and to stop Mini Raiola making public attacks against the club, because he's made a number of public attacks against the club as Mini Raiola. But if Pogba goes this summer, I think he'll make a move to Real Madrid. Don't forget, the other week he said he wanted to stay, Pogba, and he was interested in extending his contract. Solskjaer then reiterated it, basically saying that he will remain at Manchester United. That was after our 5-0 win against Lask, by the way. But I don't know, what's going to be happening with Paul Pogba. But it actually said we're willing to accept now just £100 million for him this summer. But I've already, given you the latest news on Paul Pogba and that. But obviously, Man United, like I mentioned, one of the biggest clubs in the world with a fantastic history, fantastic fan base. We are the most successful team in England and that. And I don't think Solskjaer will invoke Ferguson's legacy, but I don't think any manager will invoke Ferguson's legacy. But we will see what happens in that. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.